to make sense of Metaverse Fashion Week or can't decide whether to purchase an NFT handbag or a digital mini dress? Welcome to DOORS webinar to guide you through digital fashion and the most recent trends. I'm Alise Trautmane-Uzuner. I'm founder of New York-based platform for independent fashion designers and cult niche brands, DOORS. Let me introduce three amazing panelists that we are excited to have today on our webinar. Sevda Mutlu, founder and designer at ethical fashion bag and accessory brand Sevda London. The brand was launched in 2013 and recently presented an amazing digital handbag collection during London Fashion Week. Sevda, welcome. Erica Wang, digital fashion designer and founder of multi-fashion design studio Shio Studio, currently based in Taiwan. And Li T. Wang, the co-founder and CEO at Lode, an immersive fashion marketplace where anyone can merge virtual fashion into their styling and shopping experiences. Lode is based in New York.
Thank you. Hi.
So let's kick off a simple question. How are you involved in digital fashion? Please share your journey. Let's start with Sevda.
First of all, thank you so much for introducing me and inviting me and this fantastic panel. Through pandemic, actually COVID, I had enough time to contemplate and thought about exactly what I can do differently. Well, I utilized that time to learn how to use 3D software. And just that break gave me an opportunity to understand the concept and research, learn about how other, especially the high brands, are utilizing platform and their mission for the future. So this is the way that I started. And for London Fashion Week, first time ever, we created our first digital collection and launched it on their digital platform. And some people, when they saw the collection, they were so amazed, even that didn't recognize that they weren't real physical products. They are so realistic, but in that sense that I already started collecting the feedbacks, and I already know which style is gaining the popularity, the color-wise, which one is going to more popular. So I already started investing for the upcoming season. So I think it's all started for me during pandemic, yes.
Did you produce the same items physically, the ones that you presented on Digital Fashion Week? So is it one-to-one or digital collection was very different?
When I started learning to utilize this 3D software, my main mission was to create digital twin of each physical product that I created in the past. That was the starting point. But later, I realized that I can utilize it vice versa in the other way as well. I can create a product is not physically existed, but it is existed in the digitally in the virtual world. So when I started the mission, my mission was different, but I realized that there is a great opportunity for me to start with the digital product first and then invest on the right products are receiving demand actually.
Super interesting. Thank you so much, Sevda. So, Erica, if I'm correct, you have been participating in Digital Fashion Week in New York for already quite a number of times. Can you tell us about your journey and your experiences?
First of all, thanks for having me in this webinar. Basically, similar to Sevda. So at that moment, the pandemic hit us, and I was during the final year in MFA program at FIT. At that time, I was wondering whether should I sewing off my collection at home or I just simply turn into all digital version. So that's how I started. I found myself so obsessed with all the digital world, and I found that this really one of my favorite to design and create. Started my journey on digital world, and then I participate firstly on the event on Digital Fashion Week New York, and then I started to collaborate with different brands. Once collaborate with a pop-up store called Pass Lifestyle in New York. I kind of create a whole digital utopia for them, and also I create a physical products on their pop-up store. a whole digital person or whole physical person. I kind of want to find a balance between physical and digital.
Okay, thank you so much, Erica. So, Liti, I have been browsing on Load for the last 45 minutes. Super exciting. Tell us about the platform and your journey into digital world.
Yeah, so we've always been coming from our architecture backgrounds, my co-founder and I, we've always been really interested in being immersed in a digital world. But we found that a lot of brands and users wanted to kind of set up digital stores and incorporate virtual fashion, but they didn't really know how to do it. And there were, as you know, like really high barriers to entry in terms of cost, in terms of skill sets, things like that. And so what we wanted to do was try to come up with a way to make that really easy for brands. That's why we became this immersive fashion platform, bringing together brands with anyone who wants to kind of discover virtual fashion and bring them into wardrobes and shopping experiences. And so on our app, you get to walk through really amazing boutiques that every designer helps to create. We work with them to create, and then you get to style, customize, and share your look in augmented reality.
So how many brands do you currently have, and what is the ultimate goal? Would it be like to grow into like a shopping mall of hundreds of brands? So,
well, we launched our beta just a couple weeks ago now, and we launched with 5 really incredible brands, including Shoe Studio here. And then we have we've onboarded another 10 brands now. And so every week we're going to start rolling out a bunch of new stuff as well. But we really want to see ourselves as a collecting point for a bunch of virtual experiences and a bunch of virtual products, so that people get to style things together and have a shopping experience the way you would in real life. So it's not about having like Snapchat like filters where you have one completed outfit. It's really about matching different accessories with different clothes and doing like full body try-ons, that kind of thing.
Oh, super exciting. We'll follow closely how it evolves, because it's definitely an exciting journey you're on. So what is Metaverse? There have been more than 2 million searches last November alone. And yes, it coincided with Facebook renaming the company. So there was a hype around that time because of that. But it's also because we do understand that Metaverse is part of our future. So, and it also shows that so many people have no clue what Metaverse exactly is. And while there are tons of different definitions, I bet it also depends on what you and how you are exactly involved in this. So what would be your definition? What Metaverse is for you, for your brand, for your business?
Well, right now we're like in the Web 2.5's kind of space. And so we're kind of trying to be the bridge between people and the future in the metaverse. But we are kind of holding back right now just to make sure we know what the really strong metaverse players are before we start doing a lot of pop-ups with our brands in all kinds of different metaverses. So I think for us, the metaverse holds a lot of potential for harnessing all of these new technologies to expand our virtual and physical lifestyles. And so I feel like fashion plays a really big part of that in being able to tell these really amazing creative stories and being able to bring people into their like very stylized world. So I'm really excited about that for brands in the metaverse.
Erica, how would you define Metaverse?
For me, it kind of creates another whole new world to kind of showcase your any kind of creative stuffs, not only fashion items, but also any objects in your life. And for the brand, I think you can really go wild. For example, you don't want to produce so many stuffs in real world, but then you can create like bunch of stuffs, so many funny and creative stuff on the metaverse. Yeah, it just, create another possibility for kind of traditional objects. For me, it's like that.
Sevda, what is your definition of metaverse?
I always believe that I am here on this earth to create beauty and magic. And I think that for me, Metaverse is a magical world. It's a winter wonderland sort of world, you know. Everything, anything is possible. There is no limit to your creativity. That anything that you want to create, you express your beauty through the objects that you create, environment you create, and the way that you engage people. Everything might be magical for me. It's a different realm in that we will be there with our avatars, as far as I understood. But and at the same time, that any beauties are possible, any magic is possible. This is the way that I see it, without limitations. Yes.
And that leads to my next question. Do you see that because of this ample of choice, right, absence of limitations, so what is the future of physical fashion? Is the digital killing the physical? If not, then how it is affecting the physical? Is there room for both of them coexist?
Well, for me, as long as we have this physical body, we need to have physical clothes. But just to be able to express our individuality, that I realized that we don't need so many stuff. We already so many in our wardrobe that we don't wear, that we don't need that much. But eventually we only pick the ones that we really love, we cherish for years. As long as you play the rules in an ethical way, any products that you create with a decency and ethical values will be existed in this world. But in the other realm, in the metaverse, then you start playing with the wider perspective, and somehow they will all be attached to each other. I don't think that I will only produce this digital fashion. I'm here for women. I'm a real woman. I'm creating for them. That's my real mission, actually. And every time that I create something meaningful and beautiful, we'll have their digital version in the virtual environment. Yet that maybe I can play a little bit more crazy in a metaverse, that I can create something full of Swarovski crystals with flames, and anything is different and not possible that in reality can be possible in the metaverse. But I don't think they are going to kill each other. They are a perfect way to complement to each other.
Thank you so much, Sevda. Leti, what do you see from the brands that you currently represent on Load, and maybe also the ones that you are in talks of joining? So how do they see the platform as the same as Sevda said, as a complement to their physical collections, or?
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with Sevda. I think what you said was really clarifying in how brands look at digital fashion. I think the way that I think about it is really breaking it down into three kinds of relationships. Like you have the relationship of virtual with physical products and virtual, and then like the phygital, which is the in between, and then you have like the pure virtual collection. And I think with physical products, what you get to do with making them, with digitizing them, is you give consumers a lot more ability to sample your products and try things on an AR. And we find that users they're sampling products about 8 times as much as they would normally. And they're spending like 50% more of their time viewing and browsing products, especially in a virtual showroom. And then with phygital products, it's a bit of a funny word, but I do really like phygital as a good entry point for brands to think about virtual fashion and to think about the potential crossovers between physical and virtual. And so it really can help to kind of extend a collection. For instance, you can print off a garment with a QR code on it that can activate a clothing filter or do things like that to kind of mix in a lot of digital pieces into your physical pieces. And I think a lot of our brands now are asking for that because it makes for a really surprising and exclusive experience. And then, of course, as Sevda said, with purely virtual collections, it really allows brands to kind of be as creative as they want and not have the limitations of physical products, but really be able to tell their story really clearly. yeah, I think in all those cases, it really allows you to better connect with your consumers. I think is only really doing a lot of good.
Thank you so much, and thank you for breaking down it in these three clear categories. I think it kind of crystallizes the way the brands actually approach that. So, Erica, what is your take on this? Do you, as no no limitations in your case, but would you be able to create, or I mean, that's not the aim, obviously, but to create all of these digital pieces into physical, but do you plan to create digital only collections? Do you see that you could switch to the type of work for shoe studio and just abandon the physical at some point, or that's not the...
Also, my favorite is called digital. I'm not going to do all digital collections. So that's why I'm at a point I'm planning to my 3D printing stuffs. I mean, so many brands are now investing the digital version of their brands. So I think it is definitely is going to have more conversations between both of them, and they will definitely tailor more together. And I believe digital fashion for me is really marketing value of it, because, you know, for example, the AR filter, I think it is really a great way to market, like promote your stuffs. So that's why I started my Snap AR filter, though that is not as perfect as Load, you know, but still I'm trying to play around with that, and then also working on my digital physical stuffs, because I'm not going to stop at only digital phase. For me, is not sustainable, though it's sustainable, but I still need to grow my own brands. So that's why I think I need to kind of take care of both of them. Yeah.
So that leads us to the next question: how to monetize digital fashion, and what is the pricing? Should a digital piece cost a fraction of a physical, or should it cost the same, or should it cost more? We have seen that Gucci handbag on Roblox sold more than its physical version in a brick and mortar. What is the answer to that question, if there is one answer at this point of time? Liti, maybe let's start with you.
Sure. I think an answer is that virtual products can kind of introduce your new consumers to your brand at a lower price point. And so maybe, for instance, if you're a brand like Gucci, instead of selling a bottle of perfume, then you can offer like an exclusive virtual collection that people can share on social media. And so that way you're getting a younger clientele and you're doing something that is innovative and interesting. So in that sense, like on the secondary market, I think it's sold for like a bag that they had, a virtual bag that they sold for like $6, sold for like 200K or something on the secondary market. And so I think that kind of stuff is really interesting. And I really think the value at the end of the day is always going to be determined by demand. And I think the social value of digital clothing is really important. And so at Load, we try to grow that value by building up a solid creative network and allowing people to really feel empowered to create and to promote themselves, and to be able to have like a digital styling kind of skill set. And so in that sense, the more people that react to it, the more that they see it, then the more that social value is gained.
Thank you. Sevda, do you sell your digital handbags? And if yes, how do you price them? Or if you're not yet selling, then what are your thoughts on how you will
I do. Great question. I am already planning to eventually sell my products digitally too, but yet we haven't determined any price point yet. But as far as I understood, that it would be better to price it, tag it with the price with the lower than the actual product. This is what I'm pretty determined, but yet not quite sure. This is the area that I am experimenting. Maybe I will be able to answer that question better next season, but keep watching. Definitely I'll come with a better answer.
Thank you so much. Erica, have you been selling your digital fashion collections? And if yes, what is your approach towards pricing them?
For example, I sell my digital products on DressX. To be honest, the price always a problem for me. I don't know, because people will think, well, that's just a virtual pieces. And some of people think, oh, you just click your mouse and then you produce one items. But then as a creator, it's not that easy as people imagine. It provides a whole set of that. I mean, as long as you have the digital version, then you can have a more possibility than traditional physical items. So the prices, for me, it really depends on how much people want to pay. For them, maybe it's 10,000. For other people, maybe just $10. I don't know. I guess it all depends on the market. For example, Gucci definitely can set a really high price because they already have the fame and the status fashion industry. So yeah.
Yes, it's a very interesting comment, and that's in line with I have been reflecting since we work with independent designers on DOORS platform. We don't work with the luxury brands with a high brand awareness. And what I have been reflecting is that, like you said, Erica, I mean, apart from developing a digital garment, which also includes the graphic digital costs and so forth, still there are no like fabrics, there's no production costs as traditionally we have been taking into account. So brand awareness plays quite a big role in charging these digital garments. And what we have seen that mostly these are at this stage where we are still in the baby stage, I feel in this journey of metaverse, the biggest prices are being charged obviously with the A-list brands like Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana and so forth that experiment with digital garments. They do it as a limited edition collection or on some gaming platform, right? And obviously, yes, this is more like buying and being one of these within this limited time period that can buy that digital product on that gaming platform, for example. And as Leti said, also, initially the prices were not that crazy, but on the secondary market, because of that limited edition, they skyrocketed to crazy. And that's what makes headlines, right? And that's what we say, oh, wow, this digital dress or this digital bag sold for like thousands of dollars. But that is very far from the, day to day, right? And it's super exciting journey, but we will see how it goes. And that actually goes to my next question. That is, okay, so it's super exciting. I think that some of the designers hearing your stories would say, hey, I want to be in, but I'm a team of one. It sounds super complicated to create a digital collection. So what is your suggestion or piece of advice for a designer with limited resources available, but who is willing to give it a try?
Well, I can talk a little bit about loads specifically, because this is basically what we do. Like, we do have a curated kind of sense of who we want on our platform. But then other than that, we really want to try to help brands to integrate digital products and completely without crypto. And so right now, we don't really need to answer very precisely how to price everything, because all that you do is you basically use in-app purchasing to unlock products. And so that kind of bypasses the entire like crypto NFT thing, and you can just be able to unlock products, try and share anything you want. And so I think the first step that we always say to ask our designers is like, what do you want to do with your virtual identity? Like, how do you want your brand to stand out? I think the great thing about something like Load is that you can test out a bunch of stuff. You can have a different kind of showroom for every new collection. We help you to digitize all your products. So we really take that part on. And we also can help brands to determine what products are most popular and most tried on, so that later on that they can, if they do want to make something into a physical product, then they'll know what their customer is really into. So yeah, I think we could be a really helpful resource in kind of getting you established and allowing you to do a bunch of experiments without having a really like pricey commitment, because we just take a commission basically, and we don't charge any upfront service fees or anything.
Leti, a practical question. You say you digitalize the physical products. What does a designer need to provide to you? Is it a pattern? Is it a
yes, so
drawing?
we, for physical designers, we just ask for pictures, and we just work off of pictures and like any close-ups of detailings or textures or things like that. And then for digital brands, we still need to get their files ready for integration into the app. And so we still need to take time to kind of lower the poly count, make sure the mesh is okay, make sure the textures are okay. So yeah, we basically handle all of that for any brand.
And what would be a turnaround time on average to digitalize, let's say, capsule collection of 10 pieces?
We take, we say one product per day. And then for creating the showroom, it's about 2 to 3 weeks. And then after that, with every new collection, we don't need to make big changes to the showroom because the bones are already there. And so we just kind of change the textures, the atmosphere, everything like that for like an entirely new looking room without doing a lot of major changes, and that takes about 2 or 3 days.
Thank you so much. Sevda, you have done that.
I've already done
you
that
have gone
too.
through and you have very hands-on experience, right? So you just launched your first digital collection. What would be your piece of advice where to start for a niche designer, cult niche label with limited resources?
Limited resources. We all had limited resources, especially when you're a small brand and an entrepreneur, want to create. Your vision is big, that most of the time that you need to handle so many things by yourself. And I'm glad that I invested in myself first and started learning and utilizing this 3D software. So the first step, my first advice to designers, learn it. You utilize it, you know how to use the platform. This is for me, it's the first step to create 3D products. And the second, create your virtual stores, because in the end, you need to share these products with your audience. It's so important. Before digital fashion, obviously we all know how the traditional business model works. You showcase your collection at trade shows, at fashion weeks, and you were only limited to a certain number of people, like buyers, individuals from the industries or the press, etc. But with the digital products, actually, you can reach out to wider audience, and you can start engaging with them and learn from them what their needs, what they expect from you. So this is really, really important to, especially if you are into direct to consumer sales business model. I think it's super important to create your own digital collection. And for me, the third step is to reach out to Leti, because I'm also interested to know exactly what you are offering digitally to the brands like me. I really would love to learn more about it. And soon our digital collection will be available at DressX as well. So it's a quite new platform. I want to explore, I want to learn, and just I want to keep creating. In the end, that's my mission. But these were my road steps. So I recommend everyone to invest in their talents first.
Thank you so much. Very useful. Erica, you have been creating yourself. Have you been outsourcing the the creation of digital collections, and what is the experience you would like to share to help the independent designers just starting out there?
Basically, pretty much same as Sevda, because before I am studying fashion design, right? And then I started to use Clothes 3D to create my digital garments. Although I have been using Rhino in my college project. But then I realized that to turn things into 3D and then use full 3D models, you have to know how to utilize it, collaborated with so many kind of different brands and different companies. Then I realized, I need to the poly count things. It is not just one software itself. If you want to expand, like if you want to really fully utilize that certain items, that digital items, you need to learn a lot, not only just software itself, convert it into different platforms. So my suggestion is just reach out to as many as people you can. And also I learned a lot from YouTube. Yeah.
That's a very good advice. There's so much information out there that can be helpful in self-teaching, right? So YouTube videos, that's my go-to as well. Still, so
yeah.
My last question would be environmental cost. So we all know that fashion is one of the biggest polluters. Physical fashion is one of the biggest polluters. It has faced the harsh criticism in respect of waste. Here comes the digital fashion. And again, there are critics on metaverse and environmental costs it entails. So what is your approach towards that? And so, for example, you as a sustainable brand, how do you address that? How do you tackle that? And what are the environmental costs in your case, creating the digital collections?
Especially with that season at London Fashion Week, my first aim was creating through digitally means that preventing waste of materials that we use and the preventing natural resources, the energy that we use and the money we use for the sampling stage. So we eliminated all of this. And yet now, because we keep receiving feedbacks even from the buyers, press, and from customers and everyone that I get involved in, I ask their feedbacks and I collect them. And now even though I have for about 6-7 new pieces in various colors in digitally produced, but I know already which one is creating more demand and which color is going to be more popular. And so I already started gaining this knowledge, which is going to be extremely important for me to invest in the right products. In the past, what I was doing, creating the collection and producing all of them. I don't want to do that any longer. I want to only invest pieces receiving demand. And in that sense that I'm already cutting waste and I'm investing in the in-demand manufacturing. This is really, really important. So just I think when you start creating digitally, the digital fashion already creating the solution. And before, especially I think self-expression, that we all wanted to create our self-identity through fashion. And what we did in the past, that we kept buying, especially from the fast fashion brands. We had so many items that we are even not able to wear after one wash. They are going to landfill straight away. Even charities don't want to accept those products any longer because of their low quality. But in that sense, we can still express ourselves through digital fashion. And here, I think the opportunities are endless, that you can wear any product, even the avant-garde, the most avant-garde, the most interesting pieces in Metaverse, and just still start creating your identity. So in that way, rather than investing in cheap clothes, that we can invest in our identity through Metaverse. This is another that we can eliminate waste in the long run.
Thank you so much, Sevda. Again, as I said, I think that this question is neither black or white, and I came across recently some data from Dressix that said that the production of digital clothing emits 97% less carbon dioxide than the production of a physical clothing. At the same time, we see also critics that say, yes, but when you do trade, the impact of virtual fashion depends on the digital blockchain cryptocurrency system used to trade them, right? So what would you say, Alise, about your platform and your take on it?
I think Sevda said a lot of things that I wanted to say as well, that it really is a fast fashion killer. Like, it really is something that you can just kind of quench that need for newness through digital products much better than with fast fashion. And so we really believe in that. And we also believe in extending the life of products into the metaverse, being able to have the same garment show up in games, in different platforms, so that you can have a lot of different new uses for the same items, which I think is also really interesting. But yeah, like as I said, for right now, because we don't even need blockchain or crypto, I really think we can have a conversation about digital fashion that is entirely separate from NFTs, which I think is really interesting. Like, it can exist with NFTs and it can definitely not. And so, yeah, for us, I think there's a lot of experimentation with getting people familiar with digital fashion without needing them to like have a big investment into the pieces for now.
Thank you so much, Lete. Erica, what is the take of Shio Studio on sustainability? Have you been considering that as a factor when creating digital collections, and do you see that digital collections are actually environmentally friendly and helping, like in Sevda's case, in limiting the waste, in maybe dropping certain styles, like acting as a market research tool? What is your take on this?
For example, I'm actually working as a 3D technical designer in a corporate company, and then we work with like Urban Outfitters and Free People. So they really invest a lot on digital fashion, so that they can reduce the cost and all the material waste, traditional sampling stuff. Yeah, I like that because I think that is really help a lot. I talk about this on other interview before, and then I was talking about let's just go fast fashion, digital fashion world. You can create a bunch of styles on the avatars. Sometimes I think it is really a fast fashion because you definitely can just click the mouse and then you change the whole silhouette. You don't need to go to the moods and then buy a lot of fabrics and then do all the twat stuff, and then they go to the the trash bins. So if you want to go fast fashion, then just do it on digital world. Yeah. And then for the physical actual creating all the fashion items, I think people can slow down, really think about what the customer needs. This is my take on.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for being part of DOORS Academy today. And thank you for sharing experiences and sharing your opinions on where we are going. It will be very interesting, and hope to organize another discussion in a year or so, and and probably we will have some very interesting new input to share. It's an exciting journey, and I'm happy we are all talking about that and sharing our thoughts on this.